Hey, what's up everybody? It's Mike from Cornfield Customs, and me and Jamie are in the shop today. I have to bend up a custom set of frame rails for a 1961 four-wheel drive F100, so stick around as we get them bent up. If you guys have watched any of our mandrel bending videos in the past, this will be pretty similar, but Jamie will be here to ask questions. So we've got our bending lubricant here, and I'm just going to put some of that in the end of the tube, and then I'll lube up the mandrel, and this just helps keep the mandrel from getting hung up inside of the tube. So we have our bend worksheet laid there, so we know all of our information.
So how far do you have to put it on? Does it matter?
Put what on?
Like, do you have to keep pulling it, or is that it? You just need to get it going?
I just have to get the mandrel lined up at the end of the tube so I can come back here.
Oh, there we go.
Shove the tube in. So we'll go ahead and turn the machine on, so the pump's going to be a little loud. I already came in, jogged our spindle, so everything is set at home. So we're going to go to single bend. You can see our spindle position is at 0.0. We have no load on the spindle. Our bend angle is currently at 33, so we need to change that per our worksheet. So the angle we're going for is 9, but with spring back calculated, it's 10. So I'll come in, program 10, and that's where that is. So I double checked the mandrel before we started. So usually I'll come in and I'll hit extend on the mandrel. That'll push the mandrel forward and it'll move the tube a little bit. But since I already adjusted that and the mandrel was set forward for double checking that, the mandrel's not going to move. So we'll come in using our 1/8 inch guide, line our alignment mark for our first bend up off the face of our tool. We'll hit extend, and you can see that it switched from mandrel to clamp. Actually, I'll switch it back. So it was set on mandrel. Since the mandrel's already moved, when I press extend, it'll flip to clamp because it recognizes it's forward. So then I'm just going to double check.
Okay, those are some of the questions I was thinking.
Yeah. So I'll bring our clamp in. That's clamp. I'll bring our pressure die in, which keeps pressure on the back side of the tube. And it holds the tube up against the wiper die on the back side. So everything's in the green over here on our extension side, and we're still at 10 degrees. So I'll step on our pedal, and the machine will bend to 10. So we have 10 degrees, and then we have to retract the mandrel out of our tangent point. Then we can retract the pressure die and then the clamp die. Then I step on reverse on the pedal, and that rotates our spindle back to 0. So I'm going to pull the tube out a little bit and flip the tube over. The reason we have to flip that is bend 1 was 0 rotation, so bend 2 is 180. So that's how I keep track of which direction the tube needs to be bent to follow the profile. So bend 2 is 180, bend 3 we won't have to rotate. Our bend angle is still 10 degrees, so we don't have to do that. So I'm going to extend our mandrel, and that's shoving up inside the tube up to our tangent point. Line up our bend mark. Extend our clamp die, pushing down on this a little bit just to keep the tube seated flat. Bring our pressure die in. And bend to 10 degrees. And if you guys are watching this video and you have questions that I don't answer or Jamie doesn't ask, make sure to ask that in the comment sections, and the next time we do a mandrel bending video, we can get those questions answered for you guys. So our bend 3 angle is 16 with spring back. So we'll change that to 16 degrees. The mandrel has already been moved forward. We don't have to do any rotation as per our worksheet. So then we can bring in our clamp. Bring in the pressure die. And bend to 16 degrees.
So how long does it take you to lay out all the measurements once you have it covered? Just a couple
The
minutes?
layout from the bend worksheet, it depends on how many bends there are, but it takes about 10 minutes per tube to lay everything out, double check and verify that everything's where it needs to be. So I rotated our tube for bend number 4. You can see the mandrel is shoving the tube forward a little bit. And we just line that up to where it goes away. Our marker mark is an 1/8 inch, and our piece of shim stock here is 1/8 inch. So when I set the machine up with my bending software, that's how I did it. I did it off of the face of the female part of the die, and I use an 1/8 inch wide marker and an 1/8 inch shim stock. So when that line disappears, I know that it's lined up. And some people think that's not super accurate. Over a 20-foot frame rail, I'm usually within a 32nd of an inch of the print. So I think that's pretty acceptable.
So do you have your bends marked? Do you have them numbered too? Like
Yeah,
1,
just
2, 3,
to help
4?
keep track. Well, it's the angle.
Okay, okay.
I don't label them 1 through 10. It'll be just the degree that it's bent at as a reference.
So then you can match it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So bend 5 is not rotated, so we don't have to flip anything. But our bend angle is going to change. So we're at bend 5, so that's 14 degrees.
There's your 14.
Bring our clamp in, bringing our pressure die in, 14 degrees, and we'll bend. And then we'll retract everything out. While that's retracting, I'm going to bring our cart over and just get it close, because as the majority of this tube starts coming out and we have to rotate, we'll need something to help support the tube since it's going to be kind of wanting to teeter a little bit. So this one gets rotated. Extend our mandrel. And we're still at 14 degrees. We'll retract everything out. So now we're at bend 7, and that gets rotated. I'll come in, we'll change that to 16 degrees. 16 degrees.
Cart's got a mind of its own.
What?
Your cart's got a mind of its own.
Yep. So you can see here on the tube, it's labeled 16, so we know we're in the right spot. Get that lined up. Got a little ahead of myself, so now the mandrel is going to shove the tube forward. So it's a lot of repetition of extracting and retracting the clamps and the mandrel. So our next bend is also rotated, but it is a 16-degree angle. So slide that out. Extend our mandrel.
So when you label them, do you also just label both sides?
Yeah. Yeah, I label 3 sides so you can see that it comes around. And when I lay them out, I lay the pairs out together. So I don't lay one tube out, I lay both out. So if for some reason I'm off by a 32nd where my line is, they're the same.
That's smart.
All right, bend line set, mandrel set, clamp dies coming in, pressure dies coming back in.
Look out this way.
Retract that. I think we've got 2 bends left. Yep. So bend number 9, we have no rotation, so it stays where it's at. But our angle is going to change, so we'll come in again, change our bend angle from 16 to 9, double check that it went. Extend our mandrel. Line up our mark. And I'll have you make sure to get this next time, but when the clamps or the mandrel is moving, it lights up red. So everything here is green in the extended mark, so we know everything's ready to bend. So you can zoom in on that.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. So if I hit retract on the pressure die, it shows the pressure die is moving from the extended into the retracted position. And same thing there, it shows it moving. So that's a good thing, is the machine throws up red flags and warnings that stuff's moving or it's not in its home. Or ready to bend or ready to reset for the next bend. So our angle's the same. I'm going to go ahead and push our mandrel forward, and then I'll rotate the tube.
Is this the last bend?
This is the last bend. So our mark is lined up. Bring our clamp die home. So we're at bend 10. And that's it. Like I said, these are for a 1961 Ford F100 4x4, so it's a long wheelbase. 122-inch long wheelbase, and they're for a client up in, I think, Washington State. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn the pump off so we don't have to listen to it whine. And then I'll come in and I'll rotate our cart a little bit.
It's your free labor right there.
Yep. Because one of the most interesting questions I get is why I don't clamp the cart to the tube. And the reason is everything moves and having to be rotated, or, all of that stuff. It's just, then I'd have to be clamping and unclamping to rotate and move. It's easier just to let it kind of do its own thing. So here.
Because you're really just using it for support.
Yeah, I'm just using it for support. That's all it is. So there is our frame. I'm just going to sit it up here on the edge of the tube because it's a little back heavy. But here's the front. So the front axle will go approximately here. And then 122 inches back will be the center line of our rear. And this follows the stock profile of the F100. It's all based off of the top plane of the stock frame. So there's that one. I still have the other one to bend, so it's already laid out. We just got to get it on the cart, lubricated, knocked out, and yeah, we'll get the other one knocked out, and we'll have a pair, get them all cleaned up, ready to go to the client. So we'll reapply a little bit more bending lube. So this is actually mandrel bending lubricant. It's designed for doing mandrel bending. So we'll apply that. Come up to the tube. And I just like to pack some in there. That way we know we've got plenty up in the tube where it needs it. And I'm sure it's a little wasteful, but I'd rather have a little bit too much lubricant up in the tube than not. So one thing, if you noticed on the first rail, that our weld seam on the tube was facing down. This one is going to be facing up. The reason I do that is when I lay it out, I put a mark, which some of it's rubbed off, but I usually put an arrow here, and when I'm laying them out, one has a weld seam up, one has a weld seam down. The reason I do that is when I bend them that way, they're mirrors, and the weld seam can always be put on the inside of both rails. I just think that's a nice little detail. I like the weld seams to be inside. I mean, technically you could put them on the outside, but I don't like it to be one weld seam on the inside, one weld seam on the outside. I like the symmetry of keeping the seams on the inside of the rail. Even though once it's painted, I mean, the tubing I use has a flash control on the weld, so the weld is nice and flat. There's no big divots, but I like to just like to keep it symmetrical, and I think little details like that can mean a lot to the end user. So getting our mandrel lined up, just get it on the solid part, and then I can walk back and shove the tube on. So turn the pump back on, single bend, come back, first bend is 10 degrees, so we type 10 degrees, that switched. We'll come in and extend the mandrel forward. So on the last tube we didn't have to do that first, because like I said, I had the mandrel pushed forward to check its location before starting these rails. So then I'll come in. The mandrel has moved. You can see it's in the extended. I'll extend our clamp die, and you can see it's moving, and it's in the extended. So then I'll hit extend our pressure, and that brings that over. And when everything's in the green in the extended, we're ready to bend. So I think we're going to probably speed this part up since you already watched the first rail get bent. So we'll speed it up and then we'll show you the pair. All right, so there we have one pair of custom 61 long wheelbase F100 four-wheel drive frame rails. So you can see, pull this apart, hopefully I don't knock them over. But the weld seam is on the inside on both rails, just like I mentioned. They match forward to back. So all I got to do is wipe all of this down with alcohol to get all the grease off and our layout marks. So other than cleanup, these are ready to head out to the client. So that's going to wrap up this video. Like I said earlier in the video, if you have questions that didn't get answered in this or any of our other tube bending videos, make sure to drop those comments below so we know to get those asked in future content. So that's about it. I'm going to wrap this one up. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Make sure to check out some of our other great tube bending videos, sheet metal shaping, and how-to stuff. I think I put a lot of good content out, and I want you guys to get the most of it. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video as well as all the others, and we will catch you on the next one.